Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes, as we are enjoying, for the most part, in the Northeast and down into areas as far south as northern Maryland and Delaware, southern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey. A pretty nice day. There are some clouds showing up now as we go into the afternoon. But for the most part, sunshine is tending to dominate as you go more to the north and east. And we're sandwiched in between. We're almost in a sweet spot here in our area. We are in between. Here's the dry air that has moved down from New England. And on one side, we have Tropical Storm Arthur, which will soon become Post-Tropical Storm Arthur. On the other side, in the Ohio Valley, we have this upper low that is rotating and moving basically southward. And as long as that is the case, it's creeping slowly southward. That actually bodes well for most of my coverage area. However, just south of there, you'll notice a ton of moisture, and this is all coming into that upper low, and we're seeing heavy rains sweeping across the Carolinas, back through parts of western Virginia and into West Virginia and over into the Ohio Valley. And many of these areas are going to see substantial amounts of rain. They've already seen substantial amounts of rain, and flooding is going to be a big issue with regards to this. Here's what it looks like on the watches and warnings map. We've got flash flood watches in northern South Carolina, western North Carolina, parts of southwestern Virginia, and then also back into southern Ohio and eastern Kentucky. Some flash flood warnings going on there. But as long as the upper low is moving north to south, that means that high in New England gets to hold in. With Arthur out in the ocean, just kind of keeping everything sandwiched together. We're going to be, I think, okay probably through Thursday and maybe even into the start of Friday. And in fact, Arthur has now become post-tropical with winds of 60 miles an hour, 36.8 north, 68.6 west. It's moving east at 15. It's going to make a gradual turn toward the south and weaken as it moves very close to the island of Bermuda by 8 a.m. Thursday. By then, all that will be left will be the remnants of clouds and some showers. Storm Prediction Center today, we have severe weather issues in a few areas getting highlighted as a marginal risk in northern South Carolina, much of the southern half of Florida, marginal risk from northeast Texas, southeastward to southern Mississippi and Alabama, marginal risk from northwest Texas, northward up through eastern Colorado into western Wyoming, and a marginal to slight risk up in Montana. The upper low in the east is at least not getting tropical air involved, so that's to an extent. So that's keeping the severe weather threat down. The threat here is really going to be more along the lines of heavy rain. Take a look at the amount of rain that's being forecast over the next 7 days. We're looking at 3 to 5 inch and 5 inch plus rainfalls in some areas in western North Carolina and southwest Virginia, and 2 to 3 inch rains back into parts of southern Ohio and southern West Virginia and Kentucky. But look at the Northeast. From New York City north and east, no rain is forecast over the next 7 days. The lightest green at about New York City and Long Island, that's 1/100th to 1/10 of an inch. And then you start to get the darker green in southern Pennsylvania down into Delaware and Maryland. That's 1/4 to as much as a 1/2 an inch. So just south of there is where we see all that heavy rain. And we're going to watch this over the next couple of days. It's just going to sit there until Thursday. And then as it weakens, it'll probably start lifting up to the northeast along about Friday. The latest run of the GFS, if we could take a look at this, we'll also speculate a little bit about the holiday weekend here. So with that high to the north, the low on either side here, right in the middle, is that dry wedge. You see some rain tonight gets up into northern Virginia, then just sort of falls apart. The high enforces itself on Wednesday. It's still there on Thursday. You still have rain going on in the Carolinas, into West Virginia. And then as we move into Friday, finally what's left of that upper low starts to lift northward. We'll probably have a little bit of rain or shower activity here Friday afternoon into Friday evening. And then as far as the weekend goes, it'll be a little low east of the Jersey coast with that high to the north. So I think clouds are going to be an issue on Saturday, and there might be some rain from New York City north and east into southern New England. South and west of there, you get down to Philadelphia, down to Baltimore and Washington, probably clouds with some breaks of sun possible. And then it should get a little bit better on Sunday as the low pulls out offshore. You got a little bit of a high anchoring around it. And if we hold that in place, even with that low offshore, we might not be in too bad shape here for Sunday and Monday. Cloud issues, yeah, but I'm thinking no worries as far as rain is concerned. Taking a look at just temperatures today, this afternoon's highs will be in the 60s. We've got a nice fresh northeast wind coming down from the New England and into New Jersey. Sometimes the winds are gusty, at least along the coast, up to 20 or 30 miles an hour. Highs tomorrow will be in the low to mid 60s. Again, cloud cover is probably going to play a role here in how high temperatures get. 60s again on Thursday. Then we move on to Friday, where that onshore flow relaxes a little bit. If we can break out into some sun, even though we have rain in the forecast for later in the day into Friday evening, we could see temperatures climbing up into the 70s ahead of it. And then the weekend really is going to depend on what happens with regards to that lingering low and whether it gets out of the way or not. We're going to have more on that tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show coming up on my YouTube channel at 7 o'clock. Let me just remind you folks, for those of you on my weather app or use my websites, we've had a brute force attack on the server, which is creating some huge headaches. It comes at times, I get everything back. At other times, I don't. So I'm just trying to hopefully time things where we can get the weather information out. Thankfully, we're not dealing with anything too hostile weather-wise this week. So we'll hopefully get that all straightened out. So don't forget tonight, YouTube, 7 o'clock, the Joe and Joe Weather Show. We'll see you later.